Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins Gate 0. In the last episode, everyone returned to the laboratory after visiting Yanabayashi Shrine, and were enjoying Mayuri's New Year's feast, as it were, during which the other members of the Future Gadget Laboratory were finally introduced to Amadeus Kurisu, much to the lamenting of Rintaro Okabe. Shortly afterwards, however, for some reason Maho wasn't able to connect with the Amadeus server, and not long after that, a group of masked men, all armed with pistols and assault rifles, stormed into the lab and are currently now holding everyone hostage. For Rintaro Okabe, this scene is a grim reminder of the events of the Alpha Worldline, in which the CERN Rounders stormed the lab, and sadly Mayuri Shiina lost her life on the Alpha Worldline during that first encounter. This time, things are different. We don't have Kurisu with us, in person at least, and it's not like we can connect to Amadeus Kurisu as long as the server is down. And we also don't have Kurisu's time leap machine because it was never invented on the Beta World line. Not that they could invent it, because for first thing, Kurisu is dead, and the second is that the PhoneWave TBA was dismantled the moment we got back to the Beta World line. Rintaro is trying to calm everyone down, but Daru is clearly panicking. That being said, we still don't know what these people are actually after, and they're wearing very odd costumes, ostensibly to hide their identities, but these men don't actually evoke the same sort of aura as Moeka's Rounders. I actually wonder if they are a part of CERN, if indeed CERN is still a major threat on this world line, which I sincerely doubt at this point. But even if they were, they would actually be putting themselves in their own crosshairs, because one of the people that they are currently pointing their guns at just so happens to be Nai Tanuji, the daughter of Yugo Tanuji, otherwise known as FB. I've gone through this more times than I can count, but it was still all I could do to speak. But evidently my desperation had gotten through to them, because they stopped panicking, clumped together, and simply waited for the intruder's next move. I heard the sound of heels from behind the armed men. This is eerily similar to the Alpha World line. A woman's footsteps coming up the stairs. Was it here? I think that's actually meant to say her. Moeka Kiryu, is it you? Were we wrong about the Beta World line all along? But can't be, because up until this point Mayuri Shiina hasn't been killed once. And her life is in danger now, as everyone else's, but we're still holding out hope that because we're over the 1% divergence threshold, that the Beta World line doesn't converge on Mayuri's death. Are you going to kill Mayuri again? But what appeared from beyond the door was a strange figure A figure that we've seen previously on an alternate world line of sorts. Whoever this woman is, she is dressed in the exact same garb as the mystery intruder that was spying on the time machine on the roof of the radio building. An intruder that, surprisingly enough, was revealed to be the long missing Mayuri Shiina. Although in this particular instance that knowledge is actually impossible, because Mayuri Shiina is currently standing right behind us. Ergo, this person cannot technically be Mayuri Shiina. Granted, the only possibility that this woman could be Mayuri Shiina is the fact that she might end up being another alternate world line version of Mayuri, which I would actually say the possibility of that scenario, while possible, is extremely low. Probably below 0.002% at the very least, or at the most, either way. In other words, whoever this person is, they cannot be Mayuri Shiina, and I'm wondering whether or not they could actually be Moeka Kiryu. But I doubt it. A woman in black. She wore a skin-tight motorcycle suit and a black helmet. The black visor was pulled down and I couldn't see her face. It had to be her though. Maybe, but something doesn't feel right. It's true that we are in a great deal of danger, but something about this situation seems different from the events of the Alpha World Line. But if it was, then what did this group want? Last time it was me, Daru and Kurisu. They needed the three of them to complete CERN's time technology. Kurisu was gone, as is her technology. Did that mean they were after Maho instead? Could they be connected? If I didn't know any better, I would say that this person standing before us is Mayuri Shiina, because their current posture is almost virtually identical. The woman silently looked around the room, then walked over to us and reached out her hand. Well, this is certainly interesting. It looks like this mystery group are after Mayuri Shiina herself. She grabbed Kaguri's arm and yanked her forward. So it seems like Mayuri is indeed what they're after. Which is good that we know what they're after, bad that it's Mayuri that they're after. But why her? That is a very good question. No, there was only one reason they'd want her. Did they know then? That Mayuri was from the year 2036? Possibly. I wonder. And Mayuri is understandably distraught over what's happening. Mayuri struggled, but that woman was stronger than she'd imagined and she was easily pulled away. That voice coming from the visor didn't sound like an alternate Mayuri. We have to do something. Unfortunately, the other goons happen to have real weapons, so there's not much we can do. Mayuri and Kaguru reached out their hands, but they both grabbed nothing but air. We're at a bit of a impasse here, because even if the worldline convergence on the beta worldline dictates that Rintaro and Mayuri won't die until much later, they can still get injured. In other words, they'll have to live through incredible pain. Unfortunately, we don't know if that rule applies to everyone else. What do I do? What should I do? If I moved, Mayuri would, everyone would. Then, did I just have to watch as Kaguru was taken away? There was suddenly a scream from near the door. Something tells me that wasn't Suzuha, because she's still protecting Nai. By the time I looked over, the second man was already falling to the floor. If I didn't know better, I would say that everything was almost happening virtually verbatim. But I do know better, fortunately.
Oi, これ一体何の騒ぎだ?
Never before did I ever think I would be grateful to see you, Yugo Tanuji. Would that you had done the same in the Alpha World line. Unfortunately, then, you were actually the ringleader of the third rounders. But it doesn't look like these men are with CERN. Looks like the tide's turning in our favor. Before he could turn his gun around, Tanuji has grabbed his hand and twisted it upwards. I heard the dull sound of snapping bone. Yeah. Nobody messes with Mr. Braun. The men seemed unsure of how to handle the sudden intruder. One of the men decided to run towards us, possibly to take another hostage. He reached for what looked like the weakest member of our group. Normally this would have been the right choice, but this time it was the worst possible choice he could have made. Big mistake there. You've angered the Brawn. Tanuji is pissed off. With speed that you would never have imagined from someone so huge, Tanuji closed the gap between himself and that man in an instant, slamming him into the wall. When they saw him bounce off and hit the floor, the others became deathly pale. Daru may be built like a bear, but Tanuji is built like a brick house. Crossed with a Mack truck, no less. And then Suzuha, whose legs were now free of Nai's grasp, moved as well. Now we can finally put those military techniques to good use. A thin, muscular leg, the exact opposite of what you'd expect to see from Daru's daughter, lashed upward, straight for the motorcycle suit woman's neck. And the mystery woman managed to block it, surprisingly. The woman blocked the kick with her arm at the last moment. When she moved her hand to block, she let go of Kaguri. And with Tanuji dealing with the gunman, I reached out my hand and quickly pulled her close. Looks like fortune smiles on us tonight. Realizing that the tide had turned, the woman leapt out of the lab in an instant, clutching her injured arm. The other attackers followed suit, carrying their injured fellows. In a moment, the chaos was replaced with silence. And nobody died. We can all breathe a huge sigh of relief. Mayuri's quavering voice brought me back to reality.
Mayuri, 無事か?
I think everyone's just shaken up, but otherwise nobody seems to be physically injured. We can count ourselves lucky that the only bullet that was fired is currently a hole in the floor.
他のみんなも大丈夫だったか? 怪我はないか?
Well, nobody else was shot, so... Daru, Suzuha, Ferris, Rukuko, Nai, Maho, Kaguri. Their faces were drained of color, but none of them seemed hurt. And Nai is understandably upset.
大丈夫。もう大丈夫だ。ナエのことはちゃんとお父さんが守ってやるからな。
Well, Yugo, it seems we are now presently in your debt. A debt that we might never be able to fully repay, but we'll do our best. When they saw the Tanuchi family clinging to each other, everyone finally sighed with relief. But still...
おい岡部、説明してもらおうか。あの連中は何だ?
Even now in this situation, the first person that Tanuji goes for is Rintaro. Technically, we should be asking him the exact same thing. Of course, if luck is on our side, Tanuji won't know what we're talking about if we try to tell him what's going on. The bad news is that if indeed Tanuji is still involved with CERN on the Beta World line, Rintaro might be biting off more than he can chew.
いや、それは俺にも。
But at least Rintaro is telling the truth. We don't know who those men were. They're not CERN. They didn't look like Stratfor. They must be the group that Moeka warned us about. The other people searching for Mayuri Shiina. Could be the Americans? No, as I said before, Stratfor doesn't seem to be involved at present. Though I doubt we've seen the last of them. And that leaves the Russians, the European Union, or maybe some independent power. In any case, we don't know. At first I thought they were with CERN. But if they were, there was no reason for Tanuji to be here. Indeed, it definitely explained his absence when Moeka's Rounders showed up on the 13th of August 2010 on the Alpha World line. Yugo Tanuji was actually FB, the leader of the Akihabara Rounders. The very reason why Rintaro has been avoiding Tanuji so far on the Beta World line. Of course, it was possible that someone working for FB, Moeka for example, had acted without his knowledge. That possibility is also less than 0.01% because Moeka would never ever work against FB. Speaking of which, could that be Moeka herself? Everyone tensed as the door opened again. Oh, it's Fubuki and Kaide, returned from their shopping spree, and hopefully they brought tea. I think everyone is going to need it, except for myself, because I despise tea.
遅くなってしまってごめんなさい。吹雪ちゃんがあれもこれも。
And Kaide trails off as he realizes what's going on. But, you can thank Fubuki for not being in this situation.
あれ、どうしたのみんな。そんな怖い顔して。
Oh, you know, we just got held hostage on New Year's. It's a tradition of sorts. You might call it a future gadget lab tradition. You're not buying it, are you? Indeed you are not. Nor should you.
送っていただいてありがとうございました。
And now we're back at Yanabayashi.
いや、
Not that there's any point in staying at the Future Gadget Laboratory now. And as for the New Year's party, of course, after that the New Year's party was cancelled. I knew Mayuri had really been looking forward to it, but none of us were up for partying after that. I told everyone I'd give them an explanation another day. For now, I decided to send them home for safety's sake. Everyone but the Tanujis walked with me to the station. Those who were taking the train home split up with us there, and the rest came with me to Yanabayashi. Daru, Suzuha, Rukuko, and Kaguri were the only ones left. It looks like we've got a message on Rhine. It's one from Ferris. Got here safe, nya. Thank you, thank you. Looks like she's arrived back at her penthouse, and we can't reply to this. Not that we really have any need to. So Ferris has returned.
つけられてなかったか。
It looks like Rintaro has had Suzuha watching out for any possible tails.
大丈夫。ずっと注意してたけど、おかしな気配はなかった。
Looks like we're safe for the time being. It's a very good thing that Yanabayashi is secluded.
そうか。
I hadn't seen anyone suspicious at Akihabara Station either. Got another rhyme message. Apparently from Mayuri. Looks like she's arrived home at Ikebukuro. Another fortunate return. If they were CERN rounders, I would have expected to see them everywhere. Indeed, during our hectic escape attempts on the Alpha World line, the streets of Akihabara were quarreling with rounders, and Moeka even said that they had the entire city on lockdown. I told the ones who had taken the train to go straight home and contact me when they got there. Several of them already had. They'd made it home just fine. And another right message. Another one from Mayuri. So that's two accounted for. Ferris and Mayuri. Now we just have to hear from the others. I told Mayuri in particular to send me stickers on Rhine at regular intervals. This looks like the third one. And a blushing Uber. She'd been doing that, so she was probably okay. But that didn't mean I was out of the woods yet. No sir. And apparently Maho has managed to arrive back at her hotel without any problems, so that's 3 for 3. Which is excellent. No problems.
やっぱり私が狙われたのかな。
Given the fact that that mystery woman was trying to take you out of the lab, I would certainly say so.
おそらくな。
Indeed, Kaguri was their target. I would say that that is a strong possibility.
だろうな。
I didn't know if they were at CERN yet. But it was safe to assume they knew Kaguri was from the future, and that's why they attacked her.
ごめんね。私のせいでみんなまで危険な目に遭わせてしまって。
There's no need for you to apologize,
君だけのせ
Kaguri.
いじゃない。
I would say that it's not her fault at all, but she was brought here from the future at a young age, then she went missing. She was another victim of fate, just like me. Indeed, she lost 12 years of her life.
でも本当にいいんですか？警察に届けなくても。
Ordinarily, yes, but I'm afraid that won't help in this
すま
situation.
ないが、今はまだ。
Maho and the others had asked me the same thing, but I'd managed to get them to hold off. Part of the problem was that I didn't think they'd believe us, but the biggest issue was Kaguri herself. If we told them they were after Kaguri, we'd have to explain who she was, and we definitely don't want to do that. We couldn't tell them the truth, and even if we did, they wouldn't believe us.
で、これからどうする？
I think the only thing we can do is lay low for the time being.
連中が何者かわからなければどうしようもない。
Of course, we don't exactly have a clue as to their whereabouts or how many of them there actually are.
じゃあ私たちだけで突き止めるってこと？どうやって？
I suppose, if they're as persistent as CERN was, I doubt this will be their only... I doubt they'll give up after one failed
そ
attempt.
れは
And Tanuji won't be around to protect us forever. It was only thanks to the fact that Nai was there that he showed up at all. But we can't count on him to solve all our problems. To be honest, I had no clue. The world was full of groups who would want a functioning time machine if they knew it existed. Russia, America, China, Europe, and even Japan. If I couldn't find out who they were, the same thing was likely to happen again.
方法は明日改めて考えよう。それよりもルカ子、頼みがあるんだが。
Apparently Rintaro needs a favor from Ruka.
はい、なんでしょう？
A very important
すまないが、
favor.
今日から鈴葉も一緒にお前のところに泊めてもらってもいいか？
I know this is a bit of short notice, but keeping Kaguri safe here at the shrine is our top priority now, and that can be achieved if Suzuha remains as well.
私がルカ兄さんの家に？
That would be the safest option.
ああ、かがりを他で預かってもらうのも考えたんだが、ここの方が人数も多いし、防犯設備も整っている。
Of course, the group morale will be somewhat damaged after the wrath of Tanuji. But as I said, we can't count on that to protect us forever. They had security systems to keep people from vandalizing the place and robbing the donation boxes. Didn't quite work in the case of Moeka Kiryu when she took the IBN 5100 from the shrine storehouse, now did it? But we can safely say that that never happened. At least not anymore. Just taking a quick look around, I could see that there were cameras. And this was Kaguri's idea to begin with.
かがりもここの方がいいんだろ？
Well, the shrine is where she's been living recently, so that makes sense. And she's well acquainted with Ruka and her father, or his father, I should say. Forgive me for that minor slip up there. As bad as Rintaro sometimes. I could understand that. She was already in an unstable state after losing her memories, even before what happened today.
鈴葉がいてくれればみんな少しは安心できる。もちろんルカ子の家族の承認が必要だが。
And of course, speaking of which, Rintaro made the same mistake I did, which is referring to Rukuko as she, when in fact, he's a guy in this world line. There's only one world line where Rukuko was female, and that world line no longer
お
exists.
父さんはきっと大歓迎だと思います。
Because if it did, then Mayuri Shiina would not be alive right now. And we would not be in the Alpha World line. That was certainly true. He's not as shady as Daru,
別に
fortunately.
構わない。
And Suzaha seems to have no complaints.
僕も泊まってもいいのだぜ。
No.
兄さんは帰りなさい。
処分。
And Daru got denied. Commiserations. Watching them talk made me think that things were slowly returning to normal. Rukuko and Kaguri's expression softened a little. Daru's usual antics had come in handy for once.
じゃあ頼んだぞ。何かあったらすぐに連絡してくれ。
Seems that things are pretty quiet at the shrine at the moment,
わ
so
かりました。
we can Kaguri's in safe hands for the time being, so there's no reason for us to stay anymore. Daru and I left Kaguri to the two of them and headed back to the lab. It's about all we can do at this point.
なあ、あれ、本当に起きたことなんだよな。
Indeed it did, Daru.
あ
Indeed it did.
ドッキリとかじゃなくて、現実なんだよな。
I think the bullet hole in the floor would definitely be a sure sign that it was real, and not some sort of high-res RPG or video game. Real. Yeah, that was real. As real as when the Rounders stormed the place in the Alpha World line. I'd experienced it so many times before. Screams and the smell of gunpowder. And once again, Rintaro is overwhelmed by the memory of Mayuri Shiina's death at the hands of Moeka Kiryu.
どうしたん、オカリン。
すまない。安心したせいか気分が。
I've been so focused on seeing everyone home safely that I hadn't had time to think about it. But with that done, the memories came flooding back. Memories of the alternate world line. The memories of last July. Or maybe not. Maybe... Even though Kurisu's death is completely unrelated to the events of the Alpha World line, it seems that Rintaro Okabe is still traumatized by those events.
大丈夫。今は僕も一緒だからさ。なんならちょっと休む。
Thank you for the offer, but we need to return. I could feel Daru's huge hand rubbing my back. Strangely, it made me feel a little better. Just a little.
ありがとう。もう大丈夫だ。
Yeah, Rintaro's constitution is still fairly short.
無理すんなよ。
I think we're all more than a little on edge after what just happened. I started to walk to the lab again and Daru followed me, worried.
なあ、オカリン。
What is it, Daru?
やっぱさ、これもタイムマシン関係のことだよな。
One would certainly think so.
あ
And of course, it has everything to do with Mayuri Shiina as
こ
well.
れもシュタインズゲートの選択とかいうやつ？
Now there is a phrase that I haven't heard in a long, long time. A phrase once used by Haruin Kiyoma, the choice of Steins Gate. And I believe that that is actually the very first achievement of the Steins Gate visual novel, as well as I used it as the title for the very first episode of my Let's Play of Steins Gate. The choice of Steins Gate. Of course, as we now know, this phrase, much like the words Steins Gate themselves, mean absolutely nothing. Indeed, the choice of Steins Gate doesn't refer to fate or God or time or whatever. It was just a phrase that Rintaro Okabe thought up of under the persona of Haruin
今
Kiyoma.
思えば痛々しい響きだな。
The dark past still beckons, it seems.
オカリン、
But it's interesting of the reversal. When he was Haruin Kiyoma, everyone kept telling Rintaro to stop. But now that he's no longer Haruin Kiyoma, everyone is suddenly reminiscing about those days that never technically happened because of the worldline changes. Was it going to keep following me forever, no matter how much I tried to look away and run? Does the choice of Steins Gate really exist? I just wanted to live in peace. Was even that too much to ask now?
オカリン、肩貸してやるよ。
え？
まだふらついてるじゃん。ほれ。
Seems that Rintaro is more shaken up than we first thought.
大丈夫だよ。
いいから遠慮すんなって。
ダル、
Daru is still the favorite right arm, it seems.
お前キモいぞ。
最近のまともになったオカリンの方がキモいっつーの。
But that is the choice of Rintaro Okabe, not the choice of Steins Gate.
ありがとな。
気にすんな。
But even now, Rintaro and Daru are still friends. Friends to the end. And we're shifting to Ruka's perspective, it seems, over at Yanabayashi Shrine. Ruka Urushibara was sad. He'd been sad for a long, long time. It had been a long time since he'd met Rintaro Okabe, become friends, and begun to visit the Future Gadget Lab. Itaru Hashira, his classmate Mayuri Shiina, and the other lab members all treated him as a friend. That by itself made him happy. He was just an ordinary shy boy, and they accepted him anyway. He was very grateful for that. But still, he always felt like he was being left out. He knew they were hiding something from him. That made him sad. But what made him sadder was that he couldn't bring himself to ask them about it.
寝ないの？
Seems that Suzuha is also awake, as Kaguri meanwhile is currently asleep. So it seems that Ruka has been thinking long and hard about the events of these past few months. But I believe this is going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Steins Gate Zero. When we return, we shall see more of Ruka's ruminations and see what Suzuha has to say about this. As always, until next we meet.